Hello, 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 hello. Hello, YouTubers. I thought I should do a live video because I am not going to be editing. I had this idea that I need to edit some other things because I'm seeing other people doing that and they are inspiring me to edit my videos in a way. But I was like, no, today I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do a live video. And for those who are here, can you say, I see that there is one person there. Can you please say hi, coach. Today I'm color blocking and yeah. So my name is Coach Malebo, a holistic life and wellness coach and author of 2 amazing books called The Journey and Confessions. My son is playing with my books so much that it makes them look old. And I have recently launched my journal called Create the Life That You Want. If you're outside of South Africa, you can still get this, a copy of the journal. And if you are in South Africa, we can either courier it to you, or if it's not courier, we can then I can deliver it to you, right? Yes, so today we are talking about mjolo. This is like the slang language for relationships in South Africa. And a whole lot of people are like, yo, Namjolo is showing me flames, guys. A lot of people think that mojolo is it's a very difficult thing. Some people believe that, you know what, this thing it cannot be done, you know. And so many people, again, they believe that marriages are very difficult and they do not sign up. Maybe let me just do this. They do not sign up, yeah. Then you can see my top. Then they do not sign up for marriage because they believe that marriage is very difficult and they have seen or experienced their friends having marriage problems. Then it's difficult. So I've just wrote a status. Actually, this is like a message from God, and I just recently updated a status saying that if men, because I have my clients who are men, I also have my clients who are women, and these two people are always complaining about relationships. So men are complaining about relationships and marriages and all that, and women are also complaining, and both of the party, they are pointing fingers at one another, meaning that we are the people who are creating flames for ourselves in marriage. We are creating flames for ourselves in relationships, and then we turn around and we like, why am I here? Why is this thing happening? That's the truth of who we are. So there are reasons as to why. Let me just make this a full screen. There are reasons as to why we are experiencing so much turmoil in relationships and marriages. There are reasons why, but because we have never been taught that, we are pointing fingers at one another. And it's very, very difficult for a person to point fingers back at themselves. You know why? It's very difficult. We were never taught about taking accountability. So as we all know, relationships, that's what like people are saying, relationships are very difficult, marriages are very difficult. But I want us to break down this thing and understand what is it that is making relationships difficult, and what it is that is making two people, when they are joined together, then everything else is like, you know, you have to beg to be loved, you have to, you know, all of those dramas in marriages and relationships. So my story first. Let me go and just give you an insight about myself. Right now, I'm married and we are going for 5 years in marriage. I have been meaning to write a book about marriage, but every time there is always something new. And this book, I can't finish it at the present moment, but it's okay. So I have been in very toxic relationships before. I have begged for people to love me before. There was a time when I wanted to throw myself. I want to throw myself from 6th floor. I was staying in 602. For the people who are staying there, maybe there's somebody here who stays there. I used to stay in Swellendam 602 like for 10 years. And one day, this relationship mjolo thing showed me flames that by the time I was smoking, I went to the balcony and I was on my cigarette, and my mind was just saying, go and throw yourself because this man, you cannot do anything without this man. And there was also a time when I was physically abused in a relationship. I think it was twice. Oh my gosh. So in those abused relationship, it was just one time when somebody was physical with me, and while they were physical with me, and I said, I cancel this contract. Me and you, we are no longer together. So I know there are people who have endured abuse, and we'll talk about that later on. But anyway, today we are talking about the Mojolo thing. So I have been in very, very toxic relationships. I have been, also, there was a time even when I posted 2012, when I posted something that, I think I said, I lived without you, and guess what? I can still live without you, or something like that. I was born without you, and I can still live without you. Hi, 3 people in there. Can you say hi to me so that I can see who's joining me? So, that was the thing. So I have been in toxic relationships, because sometimes when you talk to people, they thinking that no, because you are married, then you don't know about what is happening. I have been there before myself, right? So for people who are single, let's start with you, then we'll get into the marriage part. The single people, what we mostly do, or what I personally did when I was single, maybe some of you didn't, you are children of God, you don't do those type of things. So I would have a boyfriend. This is my main boyfriend, and this thing is still trending, and now it has a name, that is a side chick, a side guy, or whatever. So I will have, by that time, I don't believe that it was a side guy, but I will have people that when I have problems in my relationship, then they are like my shoulder to cry on, right? And whatever happens with me and them, it's not like it's any strings attached. We know that we don't want one another. I have a boyfriend. They even understand. And most people are in that type of a mess. We are in a relationship with someone and also having a backup, that if this the relationship doesn't work, then I have a backup plan, which means that I have another man who I can cry on, and this man can give you what my boyfriend used to give me. So I had that kind of a situation, and it boils down to what we have been taught to believe about ourselves. Most of us, we were taught that if you are 30 years of age and you are not in a relationship, and you are beautiful and you are not in a relationship, then there is something wrong with you. So you always want to find yourself with men or with women, so that people can see that you are the girl. I mean, there was a time when I was dating a whole lot of people, they would park their cars, go flirting, and I felt like I'm the woman. And this also goes back to also men, because men have this similar thing. Right. So that was what I was going through. And the time in my life when now I became observant, I became myself. When I was awakening to the truth of who I am, I had to define myself. Who is Malebu? Is Malebu defined by dating a guy who's driving a BMW? Because I have been so crazy about a BMW for a very long time, and some people, I dated them because they were driving a BMW, but in the process then I loved them, and then I have to beg them to love me as well, and all that mess that we always find ourselves into, and those entanglements that we always find ourselves into. So that was my story until the day I decided that I'm going to be single. So I had these people that I was talking to. I had to go and tell them that today it's over. The entanglement, it's over. Whatever that we had, it's over. Whether it was a WhatsApp thing, those type of things, I had to cut ties with everyone and be on my own. This is the thing with us as people. We were never taught to be on our own. And when you are in silence, I love being in like silence. Even now, when my son is sleeping, when my husband is here, I'm like switching off the TV, going off social media, and I listen. There's always a message that comes when you are in silence. There is always a download of information that comes when you are in silence. But when you are alone, But most of us, again, we were never taught to be alone. We were taught to always be in entanglements. We are always taught that you need to be in a relationship, that we find our way back to the turmoil that we left. You leave boyfriend number one or girlfriend number one, you go back to the same thing, because there is no time for you to sit by yourself and reflect on what it is that is going on in this relationship. Why am I attracting such people in my life? We don't have time for that, and we rush into a relationship. So when my time of awakening came, I decided I'm gonna cut ties with everyone. Firstly, I did have a boyfriend by that time who still believed that I was dating my husband, because there's no way that somebody can marry you in 5 months. It means that I was cheating him with my boyfriend and all that, with my husband and all that. Like, that's a story for another day. But anyway, then I then cut ties. Firstly, I asked him, let's sit down, because you are my boyfriend. Let me understand your vision about this thing. Some people are looking to be married and they are in relationships, but they are not vocal about it. They are just, I want to see where is this guy going to take me. Are you asking empowering questions in your relationship? And now when I did, when I personally asked empowering questions, that what is your vision about your life? What it is that you are expecting us to do right now? I found out that the guy was never intending to marry me. He was never intending to do anything with me other than the mess that we were in. And I had to decide, because we have power of choice. I had to decide whether I stay in that mess or I leave. But because I had a great awakening that God is going to give me a man, I didn't know who, but I knew that there is much more better things for myself. Then I left that relationship. So most people are in those type of relationships. So you have been dating for 6 years, you have been dating for many years, and you know that this person is not even intending to marry you, but when deep in you, you know that you want marriage. So why don't you talk to your husband, to your boyfriend? Why don't you talk to your girlfriend as well? There are men who want to get married, and these men, they are with women who don't want marriage. So why don't you be vocal with your partner and tell them the truth about who you are? And that is another thing. We are not honest with ourselves, and we cannot even be honest with other people. That's the problem. Then the second thing that I did when I was in that mess, so I spoke to the main boyfriend and I said, guy, what is your Yes, Dinero. People don't want to have uncomfortable conversations. I had that with my boyfriend. I said, please, by the time, not now. Like, that was 6 years ago. But I sat down with him and I asked him, what is your intention with me? Because I told him my own side. I said, I want to be married and I am starting my career. By that time, I was still going to publish my book and do all these things. And I said, I do not want to have somebody who does not have my back. So you got to tell me where you are spiritually, emotionally, physically, and be honest with me so that I know the kind of person that I'm saying yes to. And some people are saying yes to relationships that are going to cause them headache in marriage because you never had this type of conversations. The second thing that I did was cut ties with people that were lingering around, that I didn't know if I should call them my side boyfriends, that I should call them my boyfriends, or whatever their names were. But I had to literally send them messages. Some of them were laughing. What do you mean? I mean that me and you, we cannot have this type of conversations. You know yourself that sometimes you do have types of conversations where it's not like you're flirting, but you are pouring your heart into somebody. You are having intimate conversations or sharing your intimate self with another person, and you know you're not supposed to do that. So I had those type of things because I'm not perfect. You see me now as a coach, I am not perfect. So those are the things that I did. I said I cut ties with you, and then I was alone, not lonely. I was alone. As I was alone, I was working on myself. I was working on the things that I wanted. I was working on my vision. And the more I worked on myself, the more I attracted that which I wanted. That is why it didn't take me long for me to get married, because just the first relationship after I cut those things out of my life, I got married. That was it. My intention was for me to get married. So some people, They don't know if they are going back or forth. You are having a child with someone, and you don't know if this person is going to marry you, and you are hanging around with them. You're not asking them deeper questions, uncomfortable. You're not having uncomfortable conversations with them. You are just there with them for no reason. And I'm telling you today, if you are having that, then you are always going to say Mjolo is a problem. So the second one is in marriage. Now, marriage is, there are instructions in marriage, guys. We are living with the rules and regulations in marriage. And these rules and regulations are made by culture and also religion, and part of the reasons why people are in toxic marriages, it's because of culture and religion. So when you are in a relationship, it's nice. That is why people will say, yeah, but when I was dating you, it was fine, but now that we are here, now I feel yeah, because now we are getting into an institution that is governed by other people's beliefs. Let me make a disclaimer. I am a born-again Christian, and there are things that are happening in the church that I do not like or do not believe in. Even in the Bible that we do have, and I do not believe in. Some scripture in the book of Corinthians that says women must be quiet in the church and then men must talk. And I feel like, God, I always pray about this, that may you make me understand what the scripture is saying, because really people are using it to lower us as women. And now when women are coming out, we are seeing people who are now becoming feminists, and in a way, not like, okay, I'm a feminist, but in a way of hating the other gender because they were lowered for many, many years. So in marriage, it was simple. It was said that men, you do this, women, you do this, right? The Bible says in the book of Ephesians, it says, men, love your husband, love your wife, wife, respect your husband, right? And that can also be interpreted in a different way. What is love? Is love buying me flowers? Is love giving me money? Or what is respect? Is respect me dressing up and not showing this part of me, or what? What is that? Nobody knows, but all of us, we have our own interpretation of what is that. Now, back in the days, it used to be simple. I mean, my mom was a home, a stay-at-home mom, right? She never worked a day in her life, so she was taking care of us. It was the 6 of us. My dad was the provider, and he was providing everything for the 6 children that he had. Now, there was no clashes, that I don't know what I'm doing. Men knew what they were going to do when they're in marriage, and women knew what they are going to do. So I once wrote a book. I'm yet to publish this book that says men belong in the kitchen. And I know that a lot of people are going to say, yeah, you are a feminist, but they don't understand the message in that. So I said men belong in the kitchen. In a way, just when I was finishing that book, I got hold of a book by my longtime pastor and mentor and all of that, Dr. Miles Monroe, who wrote 2 books that says Understanding the Power of a Man, and I think Understanding the Power of a Woman. Then I made time for me to read The Power of a Man, and that guy literally spoke about the things that I was speaking about in the book, which says, in the past, like I said, men knew their roles. It was not, you were never going to find a man washing dishes. You were never going to find a man trying to cook. No, men were going out to provide for their families, and then women were cleaning and doing all these things. Now we are in a new age. Malebo is working 8 to 5, 9 to 5. My husband is working 9 to 5. And then as we are coming with our own cars, parking here, past 5, we are coming in this house, and then there is no one who, both of us, we are also contributing to the finances of the house. We are doing everything together. And now some people, even marriages, people walked out because they did not see the need of a man in their lives. Many people have talked to me about this, that, you know what, I don't see the need of having a woman in my life, or having a wife. I don't see the need of me having a husband, because I mean, that was then that a man must provide. Now I can provide for myself. A woman must cook and all this. But Malebu, they don't like cooking. So what is the role of Malebu in my life? You know. So now we are having this turmoil in our marriages because of what beliefs. And I once spoke about this in my group, that we now have this